don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut, cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Yo, what up? What up, folks? Welcome back. It's another brand new episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We are streaming live on our IG at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, as well as our Twitter handle at Barbershop SPOR2. And you can also find us streaming live on our Facebook page, YouTube, and on Twitch. I'm your boy, Trey Frazier. And as you can see, my usual partner in crime, Maestro's coming down with something. It's springtime, so allergies is kicking in, and it's just getting everybody down. So, rest up, my brother. Get well soon. I'll hold it down here for you. But we got a special co-host guest here in the building. This is actually her second time back here. It's been about, a year and a half, something like that. And
a year and a half, just about.
Yep. So let me introduce you. They call her Breezy on the internet streets here. Philadelphia sports fan, roots hard for the Eagles, Sixers when she wants to. That's a backstory there. The Phillies as well. Also, she is a professional sports bettor, and I gotta say, I've been very impressed with some of the stuff that she's been posting on Twitter. Props.cash. That's the website that you guys need to go to. She is partnered with props.cash. So any kind of advice, prop bets, anything like that, this is the woman to holler at. You can find her on Twitter at @yourhost_Breezy. Breezy, welcome back to the show. Appreciate you doing this. How has life been?
Thanks so much for having me back. I was actually just telling my dad this morning that I was going to be on the show, and I was like, the last time I was on there, we were, it was Steelers week, and things got a little crazy, and it was definitely a great episode. I loved it. You guys are awesome, so I really appreciate you guys having me back.
Oh, no doubt. I remember you was getting in them about them Steelers, and that was and sure enough, Sunday they really put a whooping to them.
Yes, they did. It was a great Sunday. It was a great Sunday, at least on my part it was.
Yeah. Oh, well, on my part too. I'm a Ravens fan, so anytime the Steelers lose in that kind of fashion, that's always a great day on this side. But we got a lot of NBA to get into. Obviously, there's the NFL draft that's coming up this week, which I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm trying to figure out how much I really care about this draft because my basketball team has just been doing some, great things this postseason, regular season, things like that. So, but we'll get into all that. I just I want to start with the sports betting conversation a bit here. And I brought this up to Maestro maybe a few months ago. So I've been doing some, prop bets for about, I'd say 3 months. This was probably within the past 6 months, right? So I forget who the Grizzlies was playing, but I had a prop bet that Desmond Bane was going to get 5 assists in the game, right? So the game was over. I think I had like a 6-leg. I think it was a 6-leg parlay, right? And I hit, right? Or so I thought, right? So I think he had, it was over under 4 assists, right? And he got 5. So you know how the end of the game, NBA's Twitter, they post the final stats and stuff, sometimes on an individual level. So they posted Desmond Bane's stats, and they said he had 5 assists, right? So I'm like, bet, I'm about to get paid, right? So I wake up the next morning, went to go on my FanDuel, I do FanDuel Sportsbook, and my money wasn't there. And I'm like, yo, what's going on here? I thought I won last night. So I'm going back to the box score of the game, and it turns out they took an assist from Desmond Bane because they made a mistake. Like there wasn't really a lot of like transparency, right? They just basically took the assist away from them, right? So I'm doing like this search on Twitter. I'm trying to find out if anybody else like paid attention to this, right? So one dude, he got up on Twitter and was like, "Yo, I lost $20,000, on a parlay, whatever." And I was like, "Damn, there must have been a lot of money on that parlay on that particular one." So I guess for you, number one, have you ever run into things like that? And number two, do you think the league and I guess because if you email FanDuel or if you like tag them in a post, you'd be like, "Hey, yo, what's going on here?" They will always refer to, "Hey, we go by what the league stats go by. We always go by their box score." So do you think the league should be a little bit more transparent about why they took a particular stat away from a player? Because like I can't even like go back to the replay and find out, hey, which play did they make the mistake on? Like what play did they think he got an assist on? What do you think about that?
Well, this ironically, this happened to me last night. I put out a parlay. It was a 4-leg parlay, defense and threes. I needed 2 steals from Donovan Mitchell in the game last night.
Right.
Everything was literally riding on this one more steal. That's all I needed. One more steal. Fourth quarter. I don't think he started the fourth quarter. I think he came in at like the 7-minute mark or something like that.
Yeah.
And I checked back in, checked the score because I think by that time another game was on, so I was watching the other game. But checked back, it said, "Oh, Donovan Mitchell got the 2 steals." I'm like, "Yo, my parlay is green." I'm not even joking. I took a screenshot of it. The screenshot shows that he had two steals at the 4:11 mark of the fourth quarter. Okay.
Right.
I'm literally in the middle of typing up, "Oh, we cashed, blah, blah, blah," because I posted it on Twitter. Yeah. "Oh, we cashed. This is fantastic. Let me see your green slips." I go to save it, went back to FanDuel to check on my other bets that I had that night.
Yeah.
And they took an assist away, or they took a steal away. So I'm like, what is this? I don't understand. So at that point, I was just going back through the play-by-play because they show you the play-by-play on FanDuel. They also do it through ESPN, and if I'm not mistaken, you can find it on NBA.com too.
Yeah. So
went back through the play-by-play, and they gave his steal, I think, to Okoro. They credited Okoro with the steal versus Donovan Mitchell. So I lost that bet.
Wow.
But the stat corrections, it kills a parlay. Like 100%.
Absolutely.
And it's extremely frustrating because the only thing the books can tell you is, well, we go by this.
Yeah.
And no lie, had the same thing happen in the NFL season. I had somebody to go, think it was like to rush for like 10.5 yards, or like it was something like super low where this guy was, he was hitting it all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm like checking the box score, like he's not on the field. Like I don't see anything about him like doing anything.
Injuries, like they ain't announced he got injuries or anything. They're keeping him out.
Yeah, nothing. So I'm like, okay, this bet should void because he's not playing.
Yeah.
They credit it as a loss because he stepped on the field and he did a punt return.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, are you kidding? Like, so you're crediting my bet as a loss because he played special teams and he didn't play offense.
That's crazy.
And they said, yeah. So I said, okay. Well,
is that enough transparency for you though?
No, it's not, because I understand like the logistics behind it. They have to go by a certain a certain code or whatever. But it is extremely frustrating when you have people like at ESPN who are supposed to be recording these stats correctly that are not recording the stats correctly.
Yeah.
And that relays to the books who are, they're crediting you with, something hitting, and then stuff gets taken away after 2 minutes. And it's like, pay attention.
It makes you think it's an inside job. Like I was thinking about that when it happened to me. I'm like, it must have been a lot of money on that one particular parlay. And it was like, we're going to take this away.
It's crazy. It makes you think like, are there people watching me? Like, are they watching what I put out? Like, all kinds of stuff. Because there have been some very, very strange things that happen in the, based on what people put out in the sports gambling community. And then what happens in these games. It's very, very odd. And with the amount of teams and leagues that are now associated and partners and stuff with the sports books, it makes you think twice.
Yeah, I think that was the last time I played a parlay. I think I said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to FanDuel. I'm gonna create lineups from now on. I'm gonna just stay away from the parlays for a little bit because it got a bit frustrating after a while. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and just stick to my 5-person lineup, 9-person lineup.
Yeah,
2 running backs, 2 receivers, the quarterback, the kicker. In basketball, it's the 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards, that kind of a thing. I'll just go right back to that. But yeah, it does make you think like there's some, and they're partnered with these companies, the league.
So they get a lot of information before, obviously, it's made public.
Yeah.
So, it creates a lot of like craziness. And the sports books are not slick. Like they think that they're slick, but they're really not because I think this was last week. I think it was a Rudy Gobert line. And there were no unders for his props. Like it was just over numbers. So you couldn't bet him to go under anything.
Wow.
And he played like 2 minutes or like it was like something crazy where it was like this is the only line that's out there. If I play it and he only plays like X amount of minutes or he just doesn't feel like playing today and goes under, it's like we're screwed because that was the only line that was available. So it's a lot of things like that where it kind of makes you like take a step back and like, okay, well, what do they know that we don't yet?
And it makes you think about the Jonte Porter situation.
Oh,
he gets banned. He gets banned from the league, all because, and it's crazy because most guys, like I think about Pete Rose, from years ago, and I'm not a Pete Rose guy. I wasn't old enough to really see him play, but Pete Rose, to my understanding, used to bet on himself to win, and it seemed like Jonte Porter was betting on himself to underperform. Like it's crazy, but
the fact that athletes will bet and then come out and admit to what they bet on and why they and then you go back and look at the tape and it's like, dude, you faked an injury to leave the game so that you didn't go over what you bet your line. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, while I think that maybe his punishment was a little more severe than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. I mean, I think it's deserved because, I mean,
lifetime ban? You don't think maybe like 3 years, maybe 4-year ban or something like that?
I thought it was going to be a few years. I didn't think he would get a lifetime ban. I'll be honest with you about that. I did not think that was even like an option.
Right,
but,
yeah. It's always
you bet on yourself to lose and then you fake this injury or whatever it was to leave the game, you come up what,
sin.
25 grand? Like, that's it. Like, I thought it would be more.
Yeah, I thought it was excessive. I always get into these situations where, you're always comparing suspensions, whether it's domestic violence, conduct policy, things like that. And it's like, it seems like gambling is like the absolute no. That's what it seems like with certain leagues. It's really with all the leagues. If you get caught cheating or gambling, you up out of there. But you beat your wife or something like that, you get a 10-game suspension in the NFL. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's amazing how gambling and I get it, because it does impact what happens in the game. It does kind of make
it compromises the integrity.
Right. It makes people like you and I who do sports betting look at the situation, even though we do kind of look at it, with a side eye still, but they really don't want us looking at it with a side eye, if that makes any sense.
Yep. I agree. It really, I think it's starting to take over because there's so many more markets out there now. There's so many different things that you can bet on. Like, Pennsylvania does not have college player props. Like when I bet college football, when I bet college football, I can only bet, well, this is with FanDuel and DraftKings. So I can only bet on the money line, spreads, like for the game, for the quarter, like whatever. Those are the only things that I have access to bet on. You go to Jersey, you could bet on player touchdowns, yards, like all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, I would never live in Jersey, by the way. I can't do it. But, it would be nice to have that, in PA or available in PA. But, it's, I understand why it's such a big deal, because it does compromise the integrity of the game. And it, if players are betting on it, and if I place this bet and I make more from this bet than my game check, why not? You know what I mean? Right. So at the end of the day, these guys are human. They're not robots. You can't say, hey, don't do that or don't touch that. They're still going to try to do it. Some people are just better at hiding it than others.
Yeah, I guess. But that's wild that you can only, in Pennsylvania, bet certain things when it comes to a particular sport. I mean, there's some states that don't even have sports betting at all yet.
Yeah, and I will never move there.
Yeah.
Ever. I can't.
It's crazy. Like I work in DC 2 times a week, and every time I open up the FanDuel app, it's recognizing my location and it's saying, "Yo, you can't bet here." I was like, "Oh wow, DC need to step the game up."
Yeah, my dad lives in Delaware, and Kyle Schwarber hit a leadoff home run. The one day I could not bet on that game because I was already in Delaware.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this is crap. I'm never moving to Delaware unless you guys get online sports betting, because I can't do that.
I was gonna say, not even for the cheap taxes or the no taxes and stuff.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope. Okay. I need my sports betting. I don't want to drive to a casino. I need to do it from the comfort of my home. Period.
I got you. I got you. They say Delaware is a nice retirement place.
It's a nice place. Home. Yeah, it's a nice place, but they just don't have sports betting. So
yeah,
it's a no for me.
I hear you.
Okay.
Thank you. You got a guess right there.
Yeah.
What's that like? What's that like? Because I guess since we had you on, I guess you were taking some classes and being a full-time mother combined with doing some sports stuff and then doing schoolwork. Like, what's that like?
It's very stressful. I think when I was on with you guys, I had just finished maybe I had just started my master's program, and I'm at the tail end of it now. So I'm in the last 2 weeks of this current class, and then I have one more class, and then I'm done. So a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of all-nighters. It's stressful. It's very stressful. I do not recommend this at all. But it's my path, and I'm grateful for it. It's hard, and
you'll be done. You'll be done. You like you said, you want a tail end of it. So you know, all
10
those
more
nights.
weeks. Or wait, I think the other day was 90, just under 90 days now is what I have left.
There
just
you go.
under 90.
Yeah.
So
About 10 weeks, 10, 12 weeks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you're getting close to the finish line. You're getting close to the finish line. Listen, I will never discourage anybody from getting their education. I have a master's. I have not a master's. I'm sorry. I have a bachelor's degree and I have an associate's degree. And the thing that I do for a living now has nothing to do with the 2 degrees that I have. Absolutely nothing to do with it. It's crazy. Every time somebody asks me, "Hey, you thinking about going back to school to get your master's?" I'm like, "What? I'm not doing that." Like the whole financial aid stuff, the application, the documentary that I watched about financial aid, like, nah. I'm not doing that. I'm not putting myself in any more debt. I'm waiting for this relief, this this student debt relief to come through.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Crazy.
It's rough out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
But after this, I'm done. I don't want to look at another textbook. I don't want to get another email from FAFSA. Like nothing. I want nothing to do with school after this.
Yeah.
My daughter was like, "Are you going to go back?" And I was like, "No," because after this is a doctorate, and I'm not doing that.
Ooh, that's heavy. That's heavy.
No.
I know a lot of folks that went ahead and got that PhD. That's no joke. You got to be devoted 24/7 with that stuff.
Yeah, and I don't have that. I don't have that kind of time. I barely have this kind of time. I no.
Right. The dissertations are no joke.
Yeah, I don't. No.
I'll
skip that part.
Right. All right. Well, look, I'm glad you on the tail end of that. Good luck with you on that. Hope everything works out for you in the end. Hopefully they don't add another few weeks.
Oh, they better not, because I will fight someone. I will. My advisor, she is an absolute angel, but she knows like this is it. I've had some issues this year, but she's like, do you want to push that last class out? Do you want to skip a term? No, I don't want to skip a term. I want to be done. This is it. I don't want to extend it any more than it should. Like I should have graduated in, I think, early this year, but because of the things that I have been dealing with, I've had to push some classes out. So
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. So now I don't graduate. My actual ceremony isn't until the end of November, I believe, is when they're doing it. But my classes are officially finished July 21st.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Congratulations. Early congratulations on getting that, because you definitely gonna get that, and I don't see that they're gonna extend you any more than they need to.
Yeah, no,
I really don't see that. A quick shout out to my guy here. We call him the Chief Rocker Jersey Vern. Yeah, Maestro is under the weather. He's out of commission right now, Chief. So yeah, he's not gonna be talking shit to you this week, bro. You have to wait a couple of you have to wait a couple episodes, man. You gonna have to
unless you're a Cowboys fan. If you're a Cowboys fan, I will talk that shit to you.
Well,
if he's not, you gotta wait.
He's in the division. He's in the division, just not the Cowboys. He's a Giants fan.
Shouldn't even
which might even be worse, right?
Yeah, much worse. They're like on the same level of terrible.
That might be worse right there. So I think he figured out that you got the Eagle stuff behind you and all that.
Yeah, I bleed green too.
Yeah, she's hey Chief, she's a real one, man. So your team gonna have to figure it out, man. Cause y'all been ever since that Super Bowl, y'all been trash, man. Y'all been trash. So y'all got to get it together, man. Y'all definitely got to get it together. My guy Sean Sims here in the building. What's good, man? Appreciate you hopping in.
Yes,
the chat right
all
there.
the way over it.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about Knicks and Sixers. And oh, by the way, Chief Rocker is a Knicks fan as well. So he's definitely gonna be he's gonna be in his chat room quite a bit. So when we're talking these Knicks. So I guess give me your thoughts on what you thought about the series going in, and then what you thought about these two games, in particular last night's game, because that was, man, I don't think I've ever felt that great about a win in a long time.
Well, it was a BS win. I'll say that off the rip.
A BS win?
Yes,
like in what way? In what way?
The fact that you guys were fouling Maxey like there was no tomorrow. Like you guys were out playing pickup basketball or something. Mm-hmm. And no calls were made.
We get scrappy like that.
You get scrappy and it's annoying. It's really annoying because nobody, like, somebody on the Sixers gets like tripped and it's their fault, so they get the foul called on them. Like that game yesterday was probably, I don't want to say the wrong word. It was probably one of the most disgusting games I think I've watched. Like it was, and not in the sense that like the teams were playing poorly, but like it was just everything that was going on was just like, it just made me cringe. Like Maxey and Joel were doing their thing. They always do. I'm cool with that. Fine.
Yep. Even on one leg. Yep.
Yeah, there was nobody else stepping up for the Sixers. And that to me is something that I find extremely, extremely annoying. Like, I don't want Tobias Harris on this team anymore. I am over it. I'm done. Tobias can go and he can take a bag of rocks with him. Like, I don't care. Kelly Oubre needs to step up. He was consistent at 20 points, starting, coming off the bench. He was like averaging like 15 or 18 points or whatever it was. He gets a starting job again. You're averaging 22 points a game. And then you go down to 2 and 4 and 0. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, the Sixers by itself, he is not a dirty player. You're just mad because he gets called for more fouls than anybody else.
I don't know about that either. I agree with you, Breezy. I don't know that he's
not like, a dirty player.
Not like what's
not
my
like
man's
how he
name
was
in Miami.
If you were talking about Joel Embiid from 3, maybe 4 years ago, where he was constantly yelling at people, he was just like overly aggressive on the floor, then I would agree with you. Joel Embiid of today, no, not even the slightest.
Yeah, nah, I can side with you there. I don't think he's a dirty player, but yeah, no. he definitely be getting them foul calls though. I mean,
he does, because he knows he has a high basketball IQ and he knows how to get people to jump. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, listen, I gotta say this because my team seems to be the more tougher team in these playoffs. And I think what the Sixers have done with Jalen Brunson, I think they're doing a great job with the game plan of just taking him out of the game. And I haven't heard this being talked about much, right? But I think those 4 regular season matchups, they've kind of held Jalen Brunson kind of to like 21, 22 points a game, with the exception, I think that one game, I think it was in January, that one game he went off for like 29 points. But other than that, I think the Sixers consistently have kind of kept him below what he's been going crazy over, these last few weeks. Like he's been dropping 30, 40 points, even had a 60-point game, down the stretch here. So he hasn't necessarily been like scorching y'all like that. I think the difference in the series so far is that, like you said, Maxey and Embiid have been the two guys been putting on the show, and then everybody else is just kind of like, all right, we just gonna let the two stars do their thing. Whereas the Knicks, Brunson's having an off game.
You guys are deep. You guys are deep, and you
Josh
guys
Hart,
play with confidence.
Josh Hart has stepped his game up because this is not the Josh Hart that we know of, at least not in the points department.
Right.
But as far as like hustle plays, rebounds, things like that, like that's still kind of a thing. But he's definitely elevated his game as far as scoring's concerned. Deuce McBride coming off the bench, who this year has been like shooting 40-something% from 3-point range, came in game one and did exactly that. Bogdanovich, who was still trying to find himself in this offense, has put up, some nice numbers, 13 points in game one. I know he only scored like 8 in the game last night, but those 2 threes he hit was kind of the thing critical. That kind of got us right. It was critical in the game and us getting the comeback, whatever. So as far as like the refs are concerned and all that, and I saw you tweet about Nick Nurse, calling timeout, and I did see that he was trying to call timeout, and I saw many different angles of whether Maxey had possession when he was trying to do it. Was he not aggressive enough?
That's the one thing that I didn't understand, because Maxey clearly had possession of the ball on the ground. Nobody was touching him. And you literally see Nick Nurse in the background going like this. Timeout.
Yeah.
And
do you think he was aggressive enough? Do you think he was aggressive enough with calling a timeout?
Oh, he did it twice. Like, and the ref is literally
I'm not
6
asking
feet
did
away
he do
from
it
him.
or not. No, I'm not asking whether he did it or not.
I mean, he's like first he was like this. Yeah. Okay. And then he's like this. So like, if you can't see the coach standing there, calling for a timeout, when you're 6 feet away from him, that's a problem. And then I've seen people also put blame on Maxey. Like, Maxey should have screamed timeout. He should have called timeout, or he should have tried to hold on to the ball or whatever.
I think he lost possession. I think that's why he didn't call timeout.
He tried to pass it to Lowry or somebody that was right there. And
the inbound pass wasn't a great one either. Lowry could have did something better.
That whole thing was just disgusting.
I've heard they could have called the timeout and just kind of checked the ball in half court. They could have did something there, but then you're setting up the Knicks to set their defense up. And so, I mean, I think there's so many different things. Like after the first DiVincenzo 3-pointer, the one he missed, you could have got the rebound, but again, the Knicks were just working harder. They were tougher, and they just kept fighting. And eventually we was able to get this win. Now, do I think we're playing better than the Sixers as a Knicks fan? No, we're not. I don't think we're, from beginning to end, we're playing any better. But at this point, I don't give a damn. I just care about getting wins at this point. Let me get the wins, and I'll worry about the other stuff down the road. I know Brunson is going to have to elevate his game at some point. I think that's really the only thing. It's 2 things for me. Brunson's got to step up, and number 2, they got to stop with the slow starts. They got to stop that. Otherwise, this series could get interesting. It could really get interesting. And I'm mad at my homeboy because shout out to my guy Sim. He's a Knicks content creator. He gets tickets to the lounge. He ain't poor. He all right. He good. He gets tickets to the Garden, and we had a choice of whether to do game 1, game 2, game 5, and game 1 was sold out. Game 2 was just too close to really book any reservations and things like that. So I'm looking at them 2 games, and I'm like, damn, like I could have been in the building for one of those 2 games. So now we got to wait to get the game 5, and I think there's going to be a game 5. Like I think the Sixers will. Yeah, I think the Sixers will find a way to get one in Philly. I think the role players you mentioned, Oubre, Batum and Buddy Hield. What the hell is wrong with Buddy Hield?
I've got nothing. I've gotten absolutely nothing. I have no idea what's going on.
What the hell is wrong with that guy?
I have no idea.
Because we talked about this. I think the last time you was on, we talked about the Sixers needing shooters. And when they got Buddy Hield, I was like, okay, they making some moves. They trying to improve in that department. I mean, even though him and Embiid haven't really been on the floor together a lot, it was still something promising once Embiid came back. But it seems like since he's been back, Buddy Hield has just kind of been, kind of a no-show at this point. So, I think the role players will elevate their game for Philly. I think Brunson eventually will elevate his game, so that we're not counting on the refs if that's what people choose to say that's why we won. I don't want to count on that.
Let me put this out there because I'm not one of those people that's like you blame the refs.
Yeah.
The Sixers looked terrible in that fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
As a team, they looked horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
And if they had played better, they wouldn't have lost that game last night. The series would be tied 1-1 going back to Philly for 2 games.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
The fact that they played horrible, they forgot how to rebound. Like, I don't know what it is about the playoffs where people just forget what they've been doing for 83 games. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are shooting, have shot consistently, forget how to shoot. People who are rebounders forget how to rebound. You forget how to block out. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So, yes, I am hoping that the Sixers come back to Philly. They get 2 wins here, and then it goes back to the Garden where they get the last
2-2. Tie 2-2.
Because Sixers in 6. That's.
I saw you.
What it's
I saw you, and I was gonna comment, but I was like, you know what? She gonna come on the show. I'll wait. I ain't gonna do all that. I'm gonna wait till she come on the show so I can see her face, and then I can let her know that it's Knicks in 6. It's gonna be Knicks in 6. I'm still confident, even though the Knicks have not looked like themselves. But I will give Philly their flowers because the game plan to take Brunson out of the game or out of his comfort zone, it's working.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't think that they really had a game plan for everybody else stepping up.
Yep.
Because he was having So,
and quite frankly, do you game plan for Josh Hart? You don't game plan for him. You just kind of say, okay, Josh Hart, you want to shoot threes?
And the fact that he's shooting threes, like he's Dame Lillard or something, like this is ridiculous.
Right, we're gonna let you shoot threes, bro. We just gonna back off from you, and if you hit them,
and I will bet on him to shoot threes.
Yeah,
so I'm okay with that.
Josh Hart has gotten more confident with his shot.
Yeah.
One of the things he got on my nerves about last year in the playoffs was he would get the ball and he would act like he's about to shoot, and then he would hesitate and think that, oh, I got a better play somewhere else. Let me dish it off to my mans. But I'd be like, yo, Josh Hart, if you're gonna shoot, just shoot, bro. Like, you ain't gotta hesitate, man. Just let that thing fly. And I think with these couple of games, I think the confidence is starting to kick in with him a lot more because, all the attention is going to Brunson and not everywhere else. Yeah,
I agree. I agree 100%. Like, so you can see it, you could see it develop through the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. And, once I saw him starting to shoot those threes, I'm like, this same Josh Hart
who's this guy
from over here? Like, no, this guy is different, and you could see it. Mm-hmm. And it sucks to be on the opposite end of a player like him getting very, very confident from shooting from literally wherever he wants. Mm-hmm. So, Nick Nurse is gonna have to come up with something because. So I'm okay with like opinion, 2 threes, but anything outside of that, no, you gotta shut that down. So, in your opinion, does he switch the game plan up, or does he kind of stick with the same? I think it does. Because it's almost like okay, so for the Sixers, for example, you always game plan for Embiid. You always game plan for Maxey.
Right.
You don't really plan on Tobias or Oubre, but you know that they can score if they want to.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, okay, in the back of your mind, like just make sure so-and-so is covered, make sure like you get back, like all that stuff. I think with when it comes to Josh Hart and even Dante DiVincenzo, you have to make sure that they are taken out of the game. You have to make sure to limit them because they can go off. Just like Jalen Brunson can go off and drop 40 in 2 quarters.
Yeah.
Josh Hart and DiVincenzo can do the same thing. Maybe not to that volume, but you know, they can shoot and they can hit these shots that frankly I wish they didn't. But
so that's gonna open up Brunson. I feel like that's gonna open back Brunson up though. Like I think if y'all started focusing more on the DiVincenzos and the Josh Harts, eventually I think because now you're not doubling Brunson as much anymore. You're now committed to Josh Hart. You're committed to DiVincenzo. That kind of opens it up for Brunson to kind of do his thing now. So it's kind of a pick your poison kind of a thing at this point because you can still. Like I've seen some nasty Josh Hart games, right? Like, you know, the turnovers, the bobbled balls, all that stuff. Like I've seen all the like mistakes that he can make in a particular game. Like you can throw him off his game and he'll just be like non-effective, you know, for the rest of the game. Like the game against Chicago in the regular season, they tossed him out of the game for something I don't even think was egregious. And you could just feel the void of not having him out there the rest of the game. So Josh Hart is very critical. He's like and I don't want to call him Draymond, but it's his play and his energy has been very Draymond-esque.
Yeah.
In a sense that he gonna get you boards, he gonna get you assists, he gonna get other teammates involved, and he gonna hustle, and he gonna, you know, he's gonna dive for the ball. He's all over the place. He's like a Tasmanian devil kind of a player. So I gotta add 2 things to this conversation, and then we'll go to another series. Deuce McBride. What did you think about him taking Tyrese Maxey's lunch money in that what was that, the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter yesterday? What did you think about that?
I don't want to talk about it. My heart hurts watching. My heart hurt watching that game last night. But you know, it's. Oh, he just hit a home run. Dang. Phillies are losing right now. That's not good.
It's a bad night for Phillies sports.
It's I mean, I guess it was time, you know. I feel like everybody there's always at some point where a really great player gets their lunch money taken. When they shouldn't. You know, I've never seen Tyrese Maxey get his lunch money taken like I did last night.
Yeah.
You know, it's
you can admit it. You can admit it. The Sixers and Mike Show has alluded to this in several episodes, but the Sixers are soft. Like, would you agree that there's a softness to the Sixers?
I would say, I don't want to say soft. I think that there's a hyper awareness of playing past a certain point, and they don't want to do that. I know it's, you don't want to get the early fouls. You don't want to get involved in these, squabbles or whatever. You don't want to get involved in that because it throws off the flow of the game. And then you start to lose players because after 3 fouls, you got to sit, or after 2 fouls, you got to sit. And the Sixers need everybody at this point, to win these games. I don't want to call it soft, but I think they have a very hyper awareness of this is the line that we cannot cross. And they're going to do everything to not cross it. You know, as pissed off as Joel Embiid was last night, you know, there was a point, you know, he was going after the ref. And then you saw him at a certain point, he was just like, I'm just go back over here.
Nothing I could do. Know. Let me rest this leg because I hope he can make it through the series because I don't wish injuries on anybody, opponents, and all that stuff. I hope he can make it through the series. And in the first game, that just looked scary when he, you know,
my heart
hit
stopped.
it off the glass and he dunked it and he came down on the leg and you just see him like bug-eyed looking at the like sky and stuff. I was like, yo, that looks scary. Like he really like hurt something.
Yeah.
But
it made my heart stop. Anytime he goes down and he does not jump back up, I'm holding my breath. Because I'm like, please, God, don't let this be the time where he just doesn't come back. But yeah, you know, I really hope that everybody stays healthy. Like I don't want to ever see players go down because of injury. Like I hope everybody stays healthy for the duration of the series. Just because I like good basketball. So
Facts. I mean, you're seeing it with some of the other series, you know, some of these teams' best players going out and stuff like that. And just to kind of close the Knicks Sixers conversation, someone said that Brunson, Hart, and DiVincenzo got more banners in that building than Joel Embiid does.
They went to Villanova.
That's why.
But I really wish that people would stop trying to equate Villanova to the Sixers. Like they're two separate entities. They're two separate things. Like I don't know what you want me to like. What do you want me to say? Like, yes, they won championships in college. Have any of them won championships in the NBA yet? I don't think so.
DiVincenzo, but I don't think he was healthy on that.
Yeah, I don't think
team. I don't think he was healthy that year that when the Bucks won it. But he got a ring. But I mean, I agree with you. You don't equate college championships to NBA championships. It's not the same thing. But I think these three guys together, you could tell that there's a chemistry going back to college in the way they play. You could tell that for certain in the way they play and all that stuff. I got to tell you, not just watching the Knicks last night, but watching the Lakers get their heart broken last night.
I went to sleep. I couldn't do it. I could not watch that game.
I got to tell you, because I said, nah, I got to watch this. Even when they was up by 20 points, I said, no, I got to watch this.
They were up by 20 and lost?
The Lakers were up by 20 poents. And they lost the game off the Jamal Murray. He
hit the game winner.
Yes.
I had no idea the Lakers were up by 20 points in that game.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It got nasty. It really got nasty. I mean, they wasted D'Angelo Russell's 7 3-pointers in the game. like you can get that from D'Lo. You for sure know, hey, we got a chance, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how many times has D'Lo hit 7 threes in a game? Like,
right. Yeah, they blew that. But I don't want to say I'm a Laker hater, but being a Knicks fan and watching the Lakers get whatever they want over the years, get championships, and to finally have a buzzer beater break their hearts like that in that fashion last night, it put a smile on my face. It put a big smile on my face because the Lakers, with certain Lakers teams I couldn't stand. It just brought a big smile to my face, especially coming off of the Knicks win, and then the Nuggets get the comeback win, and in that fashion, I was loving it. I was definitely loving it, but. I don't know how often you watch the other series, but do you kind of have an opinion on this one in particular with the Nuggets and the Lakers?
This one in particular, I really don't have an opinion on it, just because They faced each other last year in the playoffs. I think I heard today that the Denver Nuggets have beaten the Lakers
10 times in a row.
Straight times. Like,
Yep.
That is a psychological advantage if I've ever seen one for Denver. And, I feel like the Lakers try.
Yeah.
But then they run out of gas at a certain point. And when you run out of gas, that's costly because 9 times out of 10, the Nuggets are going to pick up their pace and they're going to win. Like, it's just what they do most of the time. So, I haven't liked the Lakers since they sent the Sixers home in 2001. So whatever.
Okay, so we vibing on something in common. Like we don't like the Lakers all that much. So yeah, I wish you did stay up to watch that though, because that was just that it was a oh my god, like they just got walked off after blowing a 20-point lead, but at the same time crazy. It was like at the same time I was like, yeah, Lakers, how does it feel? How does it feel, Lakers fans? Because y'all with y'all 17 rings and all the
they
the
hung
big
a play-in tournament champion banner. Like,
yeah, that was cheesy.
Yeah,
that was very.
They
cheesy.
Should not have hung a banner for that.
No, they shouldn't have had a ceremony for that. I agree with that. Real cheesy on their part. Let me give a quick shout out. My guy Courtney Harden is in the IG live chat here.
My guy.
Yeah, that's the homie right there.
Hi, Courtney.
Doing big things there. He actually him and his boys, they actually covered the Super Bowl down in what was the Super Bowl at? Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah. So him and the rest of the BS3 crew was down there doing their thing, covering the Super Bowl on Radio Row, getting guest interviews and things like that. So shout out to Courtney, for popping in the chat here. And I forgot to congratulate Tyrese Maxey. They just announced that he won Most Improved Player of the Year. So
yay!
So yeah, I know it was between him, Kobe White, and the dude from the Rockets, the big man from the Rockets.
Yeah. Sengun.
Yep. Yeah, I would have of those three. I would have picked Maxey.
Me too.
I would have picked Maxey.
Fandom aside, his growth between last year and this year it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And
in addition to the
see
growth,
that very often.
Right. In addition to the growth, though, I think when you don't have James Harden on the team anymore, and you the one that's got to kind of step up your play, I think there's something about that too. Like it's growth, but it's the situation that you was put in and you thriving in that position. So congrats to him on getting that for certain.
Woo!
Getting that for certain. All right, I'll let you pick. I'll let you pick a series. Any one of these other NBA playoff series drag your interest?
I don't know, because like the teams have been bad. Orlando.
You mean the game ones?
The game ones have been like horrendous.
Except for Pelicans and Thunder. That was a good game one.
Pelicans and Thunder, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Like if there was a very evenly matched series, it would be that one.
Yeah, I kind of agree. You got a young team that's a number one seed for the first time, and then you got a team with some vets, but obviously the missing link is Zion, and I feel bad for Zion because the dude was guarding LeBron. He was dropping 40 on him, and then next thing you know, we had to go in the locker room with like a minute or so left. So that sucks for that kid. But I feel like if they have Zion, like this series could literally go 7 games and the Pelicans will have a chance to pull off the upset. But without him, I just think this probably goes from a 7-game series to maybe a 6-game series. So I think McCollum could get you one. And I think if Brandon Ingram can pick it up some, I think he can get them one as well. But they going up against some young guns in the Thunder.
Yeah, SGA, like there's it's SGA. Like there's really nothing else to say. You know, he's been one of the most consistent scorers in the league this year. And then you've got Chet with him. Like it's just it's a tandem that can't really be stopped.
What's the kid's name? Jalen Williams too. He's kind of stepped up too.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
But they're an incredible team. You know, they work and they vibe really well together. And you can see that. Yeah. So, you know, that series is definitely a good one. And I do think that it'll probably go 6. Now that, you know, now that Zion's not playing.
Yeah. So I think there's 2 series for me that, aside from Knicks Sixers, I think there's 2 series for me that I'm more focused on than the others. And really it's because some of the other ones you kind of get the sense like it's going to be blowouts, like with Pacers and Bucks. Like I picked the Pacers in 5, but the way Dame just kind of went off for 35 in the first half, you're kind of like, okay, Pacers, are you really for real, or you just a regular season team that could put up 150 anytime you want? Because that was the first. Someone said this on TV earlier. They said that was the first time that that was the second time that the Pacers were held under 100 points all season long.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Second time this year they've been held under 100 points.
Wow.
By that team, by the Bucks that don't play defense, by the way.
Right. That's wow. Oh, wow. That is something.
Yeah. So, but the 2 series I like Minnesota and Phoenix. I think that series has got a chance to go 7 games.
Yeah.
I got the Wolves winning that one just because I think defensively, I think that's going to prevail. And did you see the way Ant-Man was going at KD in game 1?
Yes.
Like a dog?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was, whew, that's a bad man right there. I'm telling you, that's a bad man.
Yeah, Ant-Man.
He's going to be good in this league for a long time.
Yeah. Potential face of the league.
Yeah.
Yep. And I guess the only American, player that has the potential, that would be the guy, because everybody else is, international. So but Ant-Man would be that guy for me. But yeah, I got the Wolves going 7 games with Phoenix, and I think they end up pulling that series out. And Cat's already got 3 fouls in the first quarter, which is crazy.
I'm down.
So I don't know how that's going to shape out, but I'm glad he's back. I'm glad that Cat is back on the floor.
Yeah, me too.
Because the potential for them to really kind of make some noise, like if them and Denver match up in that next round, like that's going to be a series. I believe
that
anyway.
That's going 7.
Yeah,
that is going 7. If they match up in round, that's going 7. Absolutely.
Ant-Man and Jamal Murray going at it. That's going to be crazy.
Whew.
That's going to be crazy. And the other series, Clippers and Mavs, and I'm gonna give the Mavericks a chance in game 2 to kind of pick themselves back up, because that was ugly. That was another ugly game 1 by Dallas.
Very ugly.
Yeah, for real. I expect them to tie it up tonight. That's just me.
I don't know. I don't know that they'll be able to do it. I don't know. I feel like a lot of these teams are like, they're inconsistent, because we saw the inconsistencies during the season. Like, I agree with you. I think Minnesota is going to take the series versus Phoenix, just because Phoenix is they're unpredictable. You don't know if Durant's going to score 30 or if he's going to score 12. You don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen Phoenix be inconsistent during the season.
Right.
So it was bound to happen at some point.
Yeah. Maestro would be mad
playoffs.
at you talking about his boy. Maestro's
right.
Maestro's a KD lover, so
yeah. Go figure.
Yeah. And everywhere KD goes, that's the team that's going to the finals. It's like, okay, bro. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I mean, the Suns definitely have high expectations when you have him on the roster. No doubt about that. But I just didn't like what I'm seeing from them throughout the year. I mean, granted, they haven't played together, consistently to really, figure that out. But they don't play much defense. And in the fourth quarter, defensively, they have these lapses. So no, I don't see them going to the finals. And I don't see them coming out of the series for that matter.
Right.
But I guess with the Clippers, it's the whole Kawhi Leonard thing.
Who is available to play tonight, by the way.
Okay. Thank you. Because I'm about to get real upset if this dude miss another game.
I keep my hands off the Clippers. Because I have no idea who's playing. I don't know what version of James Harden we're going to get. I don't know what version. I mean, PG has been pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know. You have no idea.
Right.
You don't know if they're going to score 125 or they're going to score 73.
Right. Russ been kind of consistent too.
Oh yeah. I love Russ. I do. He's been a perfect addition for this Clippers team, and him coming off the bench and leading that second unit has been perfection. So I have no issues with Russ.
He's good for that team. I like where he's at, and they're really kind of like the wild card in all this because I feel like whoever comes out of that series has got a chance to go up against Denver in a potential conference finals.
Yeah. I'm hoping that it's not the Clippers, but whatever.
Oh, you got to think against the Clippers or something.
James Harden.
Oh,
that's it.
Okay. Yep. There you go. You go. Let's switch to the NFL. We got a draft coming up, and
2 days.
It just kind of came by so quickly. It's like, damn. I've been enjoying these playoffs so much, and the end of the regular season in the NBA that I forgot the NFL draft is coming up. So the Eagles, let's talk about the Eagles. So they've gone through obviously a lot of changes. Jason Kelce retires. Brandon Graham does get another contract, but then they lose Fletcher Cox to retirement as well.
Yep.
And Devontae Smith gets his money. Congratulations to him on doing that. It's crazy that they got 2 receivers paid. I don't know how he's getting this money from, under the mattress.
He's a wizard. Don't worry about where he gets the money from.
I don't know where he's getting the money from, but he making it work. Respect to that. What do the Eagles need? Where do you see this Eagles team going in that first round? Where you guys pick at, in the 20s?
22.
22? Okay, so what position do they need to fill with that 22 pick?
Well, they just got Isaiah Rodgers reinstated today. So before, I would have thought they would need a corner. But I don't think they need a corner anymore. So I personally would like for them to get another edge rusher at 22.
Okay.
And my personal pick, just because I loved watching him last year in college, is Darius Robinson from Mizzou.
Okay.
Big guy. Versatile. He can play on the line. He can play as, in the gap, whatever, very versatile. Very raw with his talent. And I think that's just the kind of person that would thrive in not only in this Eagles defensive room, but under Vic Fangio. So
Okay.
that's my pick at 22. And then if Howie can somehow put the emotions aside and get a little Trot in here, yeah, I'm gonna need him too.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. As far as the rest of the roster is concerned, how are you feeling about this team moving forward when it comes to training camp? Any maybe last minute trades of some sort? Any final, cuts to the roster? Like how are you feeling about this team going into 2024?
I feel pretty good. You really never know what you're going to get with new coordinators, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But I think this roster is set up to embrace that and use it as motivation going into the season. You've got a very motivated quarterback. You got a very motivated offense and a defense that has to show and prove that they can be better than they were last year because they were kind of garbage most of the year. So, you got the defense playing with a chip on their shoulder. A legend like Fangio coming in here and, putting his magic in Philadelphia is gonna be something really, really fun to watch. So I'm hoping that they can pull it together. As far as last minute trades, I wouldn't be surprised if Howie did something on draft day. He does it every year. So, I wouldn't be surprised with it. I wouldn't be surprised if they moved out of 22 either. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what Thursday brings. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he moved out of 22. Like, that would not surprise me at all. I hope they don't, but if they do, it wouldn't be surprising.
So take me back to the 1-6 stretch to close the season. I know I gotta be negative. I know, but there was a lot of discourse about firing the coach. After taking them to the Super Bowl the previous year, there was a lot of, questions about the team morale. They brought in Matt Patricia, like somewhere in the middle of that, and thought that he was going to be the solution. And, that
probably
didn't work out.
The worst decision that this team made all year.
I don't know whose decision that was, but what do you make of the collapse? Like, was it a chemistry thing? Was it just as simple as we lost both coordinators, so we're just trying to fill in those two gaps? Or is it player related?
I think it's player related, honestly. Before they had their end of season exit meeting stuff, looking back, it was almost like they were a little cocky towards the end of the season. And it's like, well, we've already made the playoffs. Like, we don't really have to do anything because these last 7 teams that we're playing are garbage. Like, they're below 500 teams. So we could just get by. It's not a big deal.
Right,
and they ended up getting stomped on every week. So it's like, obviously you can't just get by. You can't just wing it. Like, you actually have to play and be serious about it. And I think they got punched in the mouth and they couldn't recover from it.
Getting beat by Drew Lock was ugly. That was some nasty work. I was like, I'm like, y'all are not serious right now.
That was the most unserious game I think I've ever watched the Eagles play in my life. that was horrible.
That was nasty. I said, y'all are finished, but I gave y'all a chance against Tampa. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what? It's the playoffs. They'll get it together. They'll come through. And it just seemed like, I just want the season to end. And that's what happened. So, but were you of the idea that you maybe fire the coordinators and then give Sirianni a chance to get the coordinator position right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I did not.
Yeah.
I was not in favor of firing Coach Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've been to the playoffs every year that you've been here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it was the first round exit or a Super Bowl, you've been to the playoffs. There's not many coaches I can say within their first 3 years they've done that.
Yeah.
So
I thought
I think that gave him a little bit. Yeah, I think that gave him a little bit more leeway to stay. But those coordinators had to go. I was done. I was over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you.
Brian Johnson was just not, and I don't know how you go from being one of the best quarterback. Well, I don't want to say the best, but one of the top quarterback coaches.
Yeah.
And do with Jalen Hurts what you did to get him to an MVP level season. And then just have all of it collapse. Like the very next year. Like, and granted, it mostly was probably the coordinator that they had the Super Bowl year.
Yep. The dude that went to the Colts. To the Colts. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It probably was him, but again, Brian Johnson was in those meetings. He was in the room. Like, why couldn't he?
Right.
You know, like why couldn't he put his touch on the things that Steichen did?
Yeah.
And it was just brutal from the beginning.
But it seemed like it was both sides of the ball too. Like defensively.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm watching y'all against the Commanders 2 times, and I'm like, yo, the Commanders is slicing y'all up. Like, what the hell is going on here?
You go from sacking their quarterback, what? The first time it was Wentz. We got him, 8 times, 9 times that game?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time we played them, we got him 6 or 7 times. You go from that to letting this quarterback, random man, run all over you, pass all over you.
Sam Howell.
Like, what are we doing? Are we professionals or are we children?
My God. The most sacked quarterback in the league last year.
It was terrible.
And it wasn't
Couldn't
even
get
close.
a sack. Couldn't get a sack to save our lives.
Right. It seemed like when he saw y'all, he was just slinging that thing.
It was Tom Brady. He was Tom Brady. That's what he was.
Right.
It was horrible.
Oh,
it was hard.
Man.
Then you got these Commander fans coming out of nowhere. Like, Commanders, Commander fans should not speak ever.
Yep.
But they came out of the woodworks that week. I was like, no, I can't handle this. This has got to stop.
Right. What was the deal with AJ Brown in the media? Because that seemed to be a conversation that was going on.
For me personally, I think he was just fed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one thing that Philadelphia media does is they take a thing and they spin it and they make it a headline.
Yeah.
And to me, AJ Brown not speaking to the media after a game where you see him blow up on the sideline or you see him have a bad game.
Right.
That resonates with me because when I get pissed off like that, I shut down. I don't want to talk to nobody. Yeah. Because if I talk to you, I'm going to be spazzing at you and you're not the problem.
Right.
So to me, it made sense why he wasn't talking to the media.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would I talk to you while I'm in an angry state for you to turn around and flip it tomorrow? You know what I mean? And me not mean it the way that it's coming off as. So him not talking made sense to me. And when he did talk, it made sense to me.
Right.
You know? So, but the media still took it and ran with it and they made it a headline. And it's like, oh God, like
they gaslight everything. Yeah.
Yeah. He can't win. People think he's a diva. And I don't think he's a diva. I think he's very passionate and he loves football.
Yep.
You know, you're playing football with your best friend. Like what can be better than that?
Right. You're the best offensive player on the team. So yeah, you want the damn ball. I get it. I get it 100%. All this about and look, I feel like players every now and then should be able to break something in their contract, and that whole thing about you have to speak to the media. Like, I feel like every player should be granted a pass every now and then, because emotions be getting hot, and the media, they take that up for consumption, you know. So I that whole thing about, you know, not speaking to the media and stuff, you have to do it, it's an obligation and stuff like that. Okay, cool, but I don't
send my fine in the mail.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't think that should be turned into a big headline. Oh, he didn't talk to the media, so he got something against us, and oh, he's a diva. Like, nah. Let that dude have his moment. Eagles ain't cooking right now. Just, you know, let him have his moment, and y'all ain't got to be creating, you know, storylines. Y'all in Philly. Y'all got a lot of storylines to deal with. Trust me. Yeah. It's a lot more things to talk about than just AJ Brown not talking to the media in Philly. Like, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So
there, you know, the media was talking about trading him. What would you trade him for Patrick Surtain? Like what?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Didn't somebody have a conversation about trading Hurts too? Wasn't that like a talking point?
Yeah. Yep.
Boy.
Yep. It's insane. It's insane. This is what we have to deal with here. It's a mess.
I feel like every team's fan base has a group, right? There's like 2-3 separate groups of people. You got the black fans, you got conservative fans, and then you got the January 6th fans.
Oh, Jesus.
And I be feeling like the January 6th fans be tossing around these types of ideas, trading the quarterback for what? You just gave him a bag. You just gave him a bag. What?
Yeah, like, this is not Carson Wentz. We're not running that back. Like, this is not a Carson Wentz situation. Mm-hmm. And I think people are so, like, they have so much PTSD when it comes to Philadelphia sports that a lot of things look like they're lining up to be what we've already dealt with. You know, Carson Wentz has this MVP season. He gets hurt. We go to the Super Bowl. We get Jalen Hurts. He has an MVP season. He gets hurt.
Yeah.
That goes down the drain. We pay Carson Wentz's $250 million. And then he shows his ass and gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we just paid Jalen. So now it's like the next step to some people is like, oh, he's going to probably show his ass or he's going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's the case. I think it was just a down year. I don't know how you have a down year when you still make it to the playoffs, but whatever. It was a bad year.
Well, they mean down year from what you did the previous year.
Yeah. Well, we made it to the Super Bowl the previous year. Like, that's
right. So it's kind of tough to be like, we're gonna win 14 games again and then go back to the Super Bowl. Yeah, right. I can see that being kind of tough. But what y'all go? What y'all go? 11-6? What, 3 less games? Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah, but you know, performance-wise, it was a bad year.
Yeah, no, I got you. I mean, you don't have to look at stats to really tell the story of the Philadelphia Eagles down the stretch. All you had to do was look at the tape and say, yeah, they looked terrible. Defensively, especially on that back end, they looked terrible.
I wanted to throw up since week 2 of the season. And I tweeted it out. Said there's something wrong with this defense. I don't know what it is, but something just isn't clicking.
Yeah.
Like, something's wrong. And that continued for the duration of the season.
Yeah.
Every week it was like, something just doesn't feel right here. Like, you didn't know what it was. And then you later find out there was like all this craziness going on behind the scenes with the coordinators and
right.
Whatever. But
see, at first I was thinking, well, y'all broke a record for most sacks by a team in the league. There was 70 sacks. And I think there was, how many guys had double-digit sacks? Like 7 guys had double digits, or I
want to
guess
say
it
it
had to
was
be like
6.
about 6 guys had double digit sacks.
Yeah.
So how much so you don't expect to get 70 sacks in a season, the following year, but you do also expect to keep that same kind of pressure defensively, right? And it seemed like that was sort of the big drop off, is that they wasn't getting the pressure. It wasn't so much that they wasn't getting the sacks. They wasn't getting enough pressure. Thus, the back end of the defense was getting exposed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the perfect explanation for it. Yeah. Because I'm like, you go from almost breaking that record to not having a sack until like week 5, week 6. It's like, what is happening here? It's the same people on the line. You got the same linebacker. Like, what is wrong?
Yep. Well,
and you just couldn't put your finger on it until you found out that all hell was being raised on the back end. It was just terrible.
Well, listen, I hope that the Eagles, from a distance, it's funny because I've been, born, raised in New York, lived in New York for the first 18 years of my life, graduated high school, moved out to Maryland, became a Ravens fan, and I've never had there's this like this New York Philly kind of a thing. Like there's this rivalry between the teams and stuff. But growing up, because the Knicks was always my team growing up, the Yankees was always my team growing up, I never followed football all that much until I moved to Maryland and started rooting for the Ravens. I've never had that kind of a like Philly kind of a hate, because the Yankees, Yankees, Phillies, there's no rivalry there. Like,
right.
There's nothing there. And the Knicks, as far as I'm concerned, when the Knicks were good in the 90s, the Sixers weren't all that great. Like, there wasn't a lot of battles between those two teams. And then by the time AI came into the picture, 2001, they go to the finals. That's when the Knicks started their downward spiral, if you will. So it seems like those two teams were never good at the same time until really it feels like this is the first time, like this season, where both teams are really good and there's really something at stake. So, I always root for Philly when it comes to, the sports. And, I know there's championship droughts. Before the Eagles got that one, the Phillies got that one. But I've always kind of been a guy that, kind of roots for Philly, roots for the team, the cities, and all that kind of good stuff. So, hopefully the Eagles, get their act together, because
they better.
This is a winnable. This is a winnable. I think this is a winnable NFC East coming up. The Cowboys,
of course,
are always this.
Listen, the Cowboys ain't going to win enough until Jerry dies, so I'm not really worried about it. He sold his soul to the devil for that last championship, and they never won since. So I'm not worried.
And waited 30 years to put what's his name in the Ring of Honor, which is that's a travesty. Like, how do you not put that coach into your Ring of Honor for all these years? So, but hey, they getting what they deserving right now. And I there's some years I like the Cowboys. I mean, like, they've always had some good teams, but it just seemed like when the moments show up, it just seemed like they just crumble when you when you least expect it. So
we expect it. I expect it.
Well,
every year. I expect it every year.
Yeah.
You national media gets caught up in the regular season beauty. Like, that's they get caught up in that, and they forget that when the Cowboys get to the playoffs, that's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
They get the rug pulled. The rug gets pulled out from under them every single year, like clockwork.
Yep. Pull the wool from the eyes, and Jerry got him. Jerry got the fan base right where he wants them. Make them think, hey, we contenders. We going for it this year. What's his term? We going all in. But you really not going all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we can only go as far as Dak can take us, and Dak can only take you through the regular season. So
yeah, well, you could say that about the previous quarterback. I mean, if he asks me, anyway. Yeah. Yep. So I honestly, I don't even think it's the quarterback, because I like both quarterbacks. I like Dak Prescott. I think he's one of the, if not, top 10, I think he's top 12 at least. But there's something about that franchise that until a certain something happens, and I'm not going to say what you just said. I don't wish the death on anybody like that. Not that you were wishing death on Jerry Jones, but
he got it. He's got to no longer be affiliated with the franchise in order for them to win, and that's not going to happen until nature takes its course.
Yeah, he's the GM, he's the owner, he's the janitor, he is
the Dallas Cowboys. That's
everything.
Yeah,
everything. It's all about that marketing. He's a great marketer. If that's the one thing you could say. It's the one thing you could say about him is he knows how to market this team. That's for sure.
Yeah, but he can't pay his players.
Yeah.
And that to me is backwards.
Well, I don't know that
he doesn't pay them when they should be paid.
Okay, because he paid Dak Prescott. I think he's going to pay CeeDee Lamb. He paid Zeke on that second contract.
He paid Zeke, and then he shipped him off.
Well, that was a few years after that, though. That was a few years after that.
Oh no!
I mean, the running back, you never know. I think the running back gets kind of shafted, in my opinion. But but he paid him when. You could arguably say maybe 80% of the rest of the league wouldn't have paid him.
And then what about the two wide receivers before Lamb?
Amari Cooper did get traded. Yeah, he did get traded. Yeah,
he was up for a contract, and they were like, "No, we're going to send you over here."
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I think they pay their players more than they dive into free agency, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, I've never known Jerry to do anything in free agency.
Yeah, and it seems like every year
this year,
right? But he doesn't do anything every year. It seems like when it comes to free agency, it just seems like people expect the Cowboys to make that one splashy off-season move, free agent wise, and they never do it. And there's always this conversation: what are the Cowboys doing? Look.
They're doing nothing. Jerry is in a retirement home. He's finding his pool right now. He's not worried about free agency.
Right. They don't do this, people. It's like around here when I talk to Ravens fans, and every year it's Eric DeCosta, he's staying quiet. What are the Ravens doing? It's like, guys, how long have you been a fan of this team? If you've been a fan of this team since its existence, then you should know that the Ravens are not big on free agency like that. They're not going to make the big splashes. When they make the big splashes in the draft, they make big splashes after market values of players go down a little bit. That's what they do. And more times than not, it works out. So I don't know what you're expecting to change unless you get another GM, another owner, but the status quo is going to be the same. It's going to be the same. It's not going to change, people. I wish fans would understand their teams a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. But we're good here in Philly. we're straight.
Question about the quarterbacks, because I think one of the other things I'm interested in the draft is where these quarterbacks go. I think it's safe to say Caleb is going to Chicago at number 1. Number 2, with the Commanders, there's been a lot of conversations about Drake May versus Jaden Daniels. And here we go again with the certain parts of the fan base that want a particular type of quarterback. And, to me, I think you if you're the Commanders, Jaden Daniels is your guy. But,
I agree. I think he is the guy to go to Washington. Excuse me.
There goes the water. Water break.
But I don't know. I don't know if they're actually going to pick him. Like, I really don't know because, like you
there's a
said, like
side of you that says they gonna go in another direction. There's that side of you that feels that way. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, and I think that if that happens, then it'll be more beneficial for Jaden to not be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll probably go to another organization that will actually develop him into an NFL quarterback.
Right.
Because the Commanders are really starting from scratch right now.
Yeah. Which the moves they've made so far in the offseason are good moves.
Like, I also don't trust Dan Quinn. So
well,
I don't know.
Look, we'll see how that works out. What I'm focused more on is they got the GM right. They got him from San Francisco, Adam Peters. You get a guy from a winning organization like that. I know they didn't win the Super Bowl yet, but they have a culture of winning so far. So they get that right. And then the signings, the Austin Ecklers. I forget the guy on defense they signed, but they signed some, low quality guys instead of going for the quote unquote Albert Hainsworths of the world. If you remember that contract from years ago, that was a terrible, terrible contract, right? They're not doing that. They're not making those types of moves anymore. So I think what they've done so far under the new ownership group, and Josh Harris, because Josh Harris is in your city as well. Yep.
Yeah.
So far so good with the Commanders. We'll see how the draft plays out. We'll see if they make the right choice at quarterback. Again, I think it should be Jaden Daniels, but I know there's a certain demographic that once Drake May, y'all can have at it. Yeah.
They might even grab JJ McCarthy. We have no idea.
Oh, right. I forgot about JJ McCarthy. This is what happens when you just, I don't know, you just talk up a good game about these guys, and it's like, have y'all watched this dude in college? I know he won a national title, but he wasn't asked to do a lot. Like to me, he's a game manager, and it's cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with game managers, but if you're going to
take a quarterback in the first round, like, it's that better be your franchise guy. Like, you need to see that man in your uniform for the next 15 years.
Right. JJ McCarthy should not be the number 2 pick in the draft.
Right.
He should be in the 20s at best, in the 20s if he's going to go in the first round. I'm curious about a guy like Michael Penix Jr. because I'm so sad that his stock has kind of fallen because of the national title game. Which, look, that ain't his fault. Like, you go up against Michigan, that's a big time defense. You're not. Yeah. Your stock shouldn't fall because of that. But I'm interested to see where he goes later in the draft because I could see him as somebody that may have to sit for a year. And then once he sits for a year, then that next year he'll be able to take over the situation like Minnesota. Like, Minnesota might be a good example of that, where they get the quarterback for I forget who they got in their quarterback room, but I could see Minnesota picking up a guy like Michael Penix Jr. and having him sit for a year.
Minnesota, they picked up somebody, and I was like, "What? Hold on."
Mm-hmm. But as far as quarterbacks too, Zach Wilson they traded to the Broncos.
Sam Darnold.
Darnold went to Minnesota. Zach Wilson got traded to the Broncos, and that's my theory about that. There's got to be something Sean Payton has against Nathaniel Hackett, because that little spat they had last offseason, there's got to be something there. Like Sean Payton is out to prove to the Jets and Nathaniel Hackett that I could turn this guy into a Pro Bowler. Now, it's a wait and see, because Sean Payton, for as much as he's been touted in the media as this quarterback guru, he had one guy, and it was Drew Brees.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
yeah.
Where has he had this resume of developing multiple quarterbacks? We really have yet to see that.
Yeah, and I think his patience level actually went down since he went to TV and then came back.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you want to keep Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, what was so terrible about him as a player outside of his contract that you tried to get him to renegotiate?
Mm-hmm.
And when he said no, you're like, okay, well, you're gone. Because I'm not. Yeah. And it's like, if you're a quarterback guru, you should be able to get past all of that.
Right. So on you, Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's not. I don't even know what the Broncos are doing right now. I think they're ass backwards.
My man said, "Let me get Zach Wilson." And
who says that? Nobody says that. Let me go get. I need Zach Wilson in Denver now.
Oh,
what?
Man.
Nobody say that.
I'm glad Russ is out of here. Let me get.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. What? No. No.
Yeah, he have to prove something. I think Sean Payton is trying to shame somebody, and I mean the way that roster looks, because I think they made some cuts too. They're not looking too bright right now. They are not looking too bright. Ooh. Grayson Allen looked like he did something. He's like being helped off the floor.
Oh God. Glad I didn't bet that game.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, he turned his ankle.
Oh,
it was nasty.
Great. They keep showing it, don't they?
Just one. They just showed the one replay.
Ugh.
I hope well, it wasn't. It's not as egregious as other injuries, but that one was enough for him to not be able to walk on his own. Let's just put it like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I guess my last thing for you, and I really do appreciate that you're on with me tonight on this podcast. You know, filling in for the homie Maestro again. Get well soon, Maestro. How much are you into boxing?
I was into boxing a lot growing up because my mom loves boxing.
Okay.
So I grew up watching Oscar De La Hoya, Mayweather, Hopkins, like all of those guys. Like I grew up watching them because my mom was always buying pay-per-view, and we were always watching it. But newer boxers, I'm not entirely familiar with. Like I recognize Canelo's name because he's like one of my mom's favorite boxers.
Okay.
But Ryan Garcia, that man.
Shout out to Ryan Garcia.
Bad mama jamma.
Shout out to Ryan Garcia. I didn't see the fight over the weekend. I was consumed with NBA playoffs and stuff. But I was aware of the back and forth before the fight. Him and Haney kind of having their verbal, back and forth. So I'm better than you. You're not, that whole kind of a thing. And I'll be honest with you. I'm a very casual fan when it comes to boxing. So I'm not as versed into it as maybe Maestro could be, because Maestro even says he's kind of casual too. But I feel like he knows a lot more when it comes to boxing than I do. But for him to talk the talk and then want to act like he want to go up against Tank, and then to put on that kind of a showing against Garcia is not a good look.
Yeah. I'm gonna need Haney to take a step back and just like relax for a little bit. Don't talk to me, don't get on social media, like none of that. I just need him to go sit in a corner and chill out for a little bit. I don't think he's developed into the boxer that can psychologically beat you as well. Like I think Ryan Garcia has that down pat. Like he can talk the talk, he can do whatever it is leading up to the fight.
Right.
And then he can knock you on your ass. With quick hands,
Right.
So to say, I want to go against Tank, that's not a good idea, buddy. It's not,
not
idea.
after this. Not after this ass whooping. No,
because Tank might do more damage than
Tank is a bad boy.
Yeah,
that's a bad boy. I actually was up in the DMV.
And he's from Maryland, right?
He's from Baltimore.
Yeah,
he's from Baltimore. I was at the DMV a few months ago, and it was about to close, right? So I'm in line, and I see a dude in the waiting area that looked like Tank, right? So I'm like, yo, is that Tank Davis right there? And so I said I ain't thinking about it too much, right? So it looked like he had like two guys with him. Looked like his bodyguards or something like that, right? So next thing you know, they get up, they go to the desk, they handle whatever business they got to handle, and then the lady behind the desk takes her camera phone, her iPhone, and all of them go outside. They go outside the DMV, and I guess she was, taking pictures and stuff with Tank. And then she comes back inside, and then she called me up, and I was like, yo, that was Tank, right? She was like, yeah, that was him. I was like, I figured so, because you had that smile on your face, and then I just seen you get your camera phone, just to walk out with him, just to get your photo op. So,
oh my god.
So yeah, I saw with my own eyes Tank Davis at the DMV. Right here in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
I love it.
Yeah.
Normal person.
Normal people.
He just beats ass for a living.
Right.
No big deal.
Right. Just trying to get his license, straightened out. Yeah. That's all. Just trying to handle business. Well, Breezy, this was fun. I really appreciate you for coming on, being in the co-host role with me on the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast. Quickly, just let everybody know where they can find you at on Twitter, and then some of the things that you got coming up.
You can find me on Twitter at yourhost_Breezy. Also, anybody interested in sports gambling, you can also sign up online at props.cash. You can use my code Breezy for 25% off your first month. So, this is like the perfect time. NBA playoffs, transitioning into MLB, and then you'll be ready for football season when football starts back up. So
yep,
I encourage everybody to at least have some kind of informational site that can show you everything that you need to know about player props and all that stuff. So props.cash, sign up using code Breezy, 25% off. Coming up, just like you, the draft snuck up on me. So I'm hoping that I can get an episode or two out between now and this weekend, just detailing, my reactions to the draft, things like that. You can find the show on any podcasting platform. Just search for Sports and Stilettos Podcast. And got some things I'm working on for NFL season next year, and hopefully have some good information and good stuff to come this summer.
All right. No doubt. There she is, folks. And quick shout out. Everybody that's been in the Facebook live chats, on Twitter, on Instagram live. We appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate, hitting that like button. Appreciate just all the love. We appreciate you coming in, Courtney. I saw Courtney in here earlier. My guy Chief Rocker was in here. My guy Sean Sims. Everybody else that's been in Instagram live. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Continue to follow us on Instagram. The handle is at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also, you can find us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Make sure you click the like button on the Facebook page. Click that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Let everybody know that we got it popping on YouTube. Also, you can find us on Twitch as well. And then if you got any questions or comments about the show, email us at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. And on any of these audio streaming apps, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, make sure y'all write us a review, because those reviews go a long way in what we do. And again, we appreciate all the viewership, the listenership, all the support. And we do got a merch store as well. So we're going to be coming out with some stuff for the summer. We got t-shirts, we got hats. We got all kinds of stuff for the summer. So y'all stay tuned for that. And Breezy, again, I thank you for coming through. It's been nice for a second time. We look forward to having you back on again soon. And love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. And as always, folks, mind your damn business and drink some water.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.